to me, there's not really a point of really forcing trades into this market on FOMC day, especially guys. We've already had news released, so we've had ADP non-farm employment change, red folder. We've had final manufacturing PMI, ISM manufacturing PMI, JOLTS job openings, all these different news releases, data releases already happening, and then we have FOMC, at 2 p.m. Eastern. So this is going to be a very volatile market, probably a lot of manipulation. So I'm going to come into this market with that in mind. Not really, like, my mindset right now is I'm not looking to take too many trades, or maybe not even any trades, but if there is a solid setup that I can see with good risk management, I still will take it. But yeah, I'm coming in with that mindset. I just want you guys to know that before we start, whenever there's an FOMC Wednesday, especially with all this other news, I typically stay out of that day completely, unless there's something like just right in my face where I'm like, okay, I have to take this, right? This is too good not to take. So in terms of charting, I already charted out my Asia high and Asia low. So our Asia high is up here at midnight Eastern, and our Asia low is down here at 7:30 p.m. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so that's our Asia high, Asia low. So Asia low has already been taken out. Last night we took out our Asia low, and that was during our London session. As you can see, our London low is going to be right here at 5 a.m. So I got my London low here at 5 a.m. And then my London high is going to be a little bit up here. Let's see where it is. Like around 2 a.m. probably. Yeah, right here. 2 a.m. Okay, so we have our London high and our London lows. So we did come up and we barely tapped above our London high, and then we dropped again, right? So with news like today, we might see price completely just not do what it normally does in terms of our levels. We might see price completely do its own thing, just because now today it's more of fundamental analysis than it is technical analysis, right? Now we can see news releases kind of just move aggressively to those levels and still respect our levels, but sometimes we're going to see price completely disrespect like every level that we had charted out, because it's fundamental, right? These news releases are truly fundamental, and it's going to be, okay, was it a good news release or was it a bad news release? If it was good, well, we're probably going to see price head back up, and if it was bad, we'll probably see price drop, right? And if it was somewhere in between, we might see a little bit of both. Or even if it was good, we might see manipulation move down first and then a pump, and if it was bad, we might see manipulation move up and then a dump, right? So that's typically kind of like our news, and it's not really always that simple. It can be a little more complicated than that, and that's why I tend to stay out of the market on FOMC day, and that's why I recommend, especially for people that are newer to trading, I always recommend to just be more conservative. Just remember that, like, what's at stake, especially with high volatility. Let's look at like our 1 minute candles right now. I just kind of want to show you this 1 minute time frame and what it's like to have a stop loss on a day like this, right? So let's just say, for an example, say we wanted to get in the shorts, right? And say we got an entry right below VWAP. Let's see. Normally I have a 50 tick stop, 55 tick stop. Okay, so say we got an entry. Well, I mean, 55 tick stop, we might be okay here, right? We might be okay, but look how much that whipped up on that move before it dropped, right? Say we had a 40 or 50 tick stop here. or say our entry was a little bit lower, we have a 50 tick stop, that thing would have just manipulated us, grabbed our stop, and then dropped, right? Say we wanted to get in the longs. Say we got an entry up down here. Like this candle, this 1 minute candle right here, the whole candle is about 88 ticks just in this one bullish candle here, right? So we can see that price moves so much more during high volatility days, and we're going to see a lot of up and down, a lot of chop. Look at all this chop so far that we've seen. Even though we've seen downward, a little bit of downward movement here, this is all chop to me, right? This is all consolidation. Even when we're slowly moving down, this is still consolidation, because look at this up, down, up, right? It's just these conditions so far are not something that I would trade. Okay, but let's say we get like a power of 3 here. Let's say we consolidate, we manipulate, and we pump through these highs, okay? Then maybe if we displace these highs, and we have a lot of gaps to fill to the upside, we retrace, we have good risk management, we might be able to take a long position, something like that. But let's kind of rewind a little bit, and we're going to look at our daily time frame. So we ended up bouncing off of our daily order block up here, right? This daily order block, pretty aggressively, right? Pretty strong dump yesterday. We were able to catch a lot of that dump, but the end of the day was very manipulative, right? And during our prop firm session, ended up just ending the day at break even for our prop firm accounts. But we were able to catch a good number of that dump yesterday during our morning session, right? So it was a pretty solid day. We filled all of this volume gap that I talked about before. Look at all of this volume gap from all of our different earnings days and stuff from last week. A lot of weird opens because of those earnings, right? We're going to see a lot of volume gaps, but we've completely filled that now. So there's no more imbalance up here in terms of these gaps. But now we have a little volume imbalance up here, right? We closed yesterday here and we opened down here, right? So now we kind of have a little bit of a volume gap above. But it just depends on what our news is going to do. Okay, is our news going to drive us down? Amazon yesterday had their earnings. It was pretty good earnings, right? I think they came out with some pretty solid earnings, especially for long-term investors. So when you see that, you would expect NQ to be very bullish today, right? Or at least to start the day bullish. But because of all this different news and stuff, it kind of messes with that, right? If we just had Amazon earnings and we didn't have much else going on today, I would probably expect price to have a little bit of a bullish day. But because of all this different news, all these different things coming out, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same, and that's why it's so important what JB puts out in our news channel, guys, because it's key to understanding what the market's going to do. Okay, if you're not paying attention to news, you're not paying attention to fundamental analysis, then sometimes your technical analysis levels will be completely destroyed and you'll have no idea why. You'll be like, well, why did I just lose that trade? Why did I lose so bad today? Well, it might be because you weren't paying attention to our overall fundamental analysis and what was going on with news and what was going on with our earnings, right? So that's super important. So let's go back to technical analysis, though. Let's talk about it. We have this daily order block that we bounced off of before. I was expecting price to try to push through that daily order block up to this daily bearish imbalance, but we never did that. So at this point now, I'm expecting us, if we were just looking at technical analysis and we didn't really have all this news and stuff, I would expect us to come back down and probably try to touch back into this daily order block again, maybe grab this external liquidity at this low. That's kind of what our structure is looking like right now with this strong bearish candle in this open and downward momentum today. But again, we're going to have to be very careful. So this low down here, to me, is a very key level of liquidity on this 4 hour. Okay, so I'm gonna type that out. That's sell side liquidity right here at this low. But this is also a 4 hour order block. Do we notice how we have this down close candle and then we have an aggressive displacement candle, aggressive move back up, right? So this is now a 4 hour bullish order block. So this is a point of support. Okay, but if we see price continuing with a strong downtrend, displacing these lows, I would expect us to try to push through this order block and try to grab that sell side liquidity. Okay, that's what I would expect from here, right? And our next liquidity level would be down in this daily order block, down here at this low. So we've got a few big sell side liquidity levels if we were going to continue this downward trend. Right, kind of looks like market maker model here, where we have, it's easier to see more on like a 15-minute time frame. Right, we have the low here. We pump, consolidate, manipulate, pump, consolidate, smart money reversal, and then we dump and we refill all of this stuff, right? So now I would expect price to kind of dump all the way back down to this low, possibly to this liquidity level. Right, look at like how price is moving right now. So let's say we do displace this low here on the 15-minute. This would now turn into a bearish breaker, right, where we have like this high, low, higher high, displacement of the low. So this would be a 15-minute bearish breaker, which I would then expect a continuation to the downside, especially after coming up here, kind of taking London high and then dropping back down. Let's go to the 1 hour. All right, 1 hour still looks very bearish. This is a very bearish 1 hour candle. So I'm still really thinking, shorts right now. And I think there's a possibility we might come back down to this level. But again, this might be a day where we're all over the place. We're manipulating a lot. We might see a lot of up and down. So I'm just keeping that in mind. I'm keeping that in mind, all right? So like this 15-minute time frame is going to be very crucial today. The 1 minute is going to be detrimental, right? If you only pay attention to this 1 minute time frame today, you'll most likely get stopped out of a lot of trades. If you're only paying attention to the 1 minute time frame, you're going to get manipulated. Most likely, you're going to get pretty manipulated. So it's very key to pay attention to our higher time frames and see what they're doing, right? The daily, the 4 hour, the 1 hour, the 30, the 15, right? Very key to see what they're doing. Right, so like I said, if we displace this low here and we close below on the 15-minute, that's when I would be looking for shorts. Right, but if we continue, or let's say we just start pumping from here and we form some bullish structure, right, I would start thinking that maybe longs are going to try to come in and refill some of this imbalance up here that we formed yesterday. Okay, but our structure as of right now is looking pretty bearish, right? It's looking like we're trying to head back down and try to take out some sell side liquidity. So let's talk about like what our next news release is going to be. Our next news release is at 10:30 Eastern, so in like 15 minutes. It's only a yellow folder, so it's a lower impact news event. Okay, and then until then, we won't have any news really until FOMC, which is at 2 p.m. Eastern. That's why I wanted to start later today. I wanted to let all of our morning news kind of play out first, and we do our charting and our analysis while that news is playing out. That way we can kind of let it settle down, and we can look for some trades in between that news and FOMC, because that's kind of the only time I'm looking to trade today, right? This is kind of the only time I'm looking to trade. Yeah, we have 10:30 news. It's yellow folder. It's yellow folder news, so it's crude oil inventories. We won't see too much of an impact because of that, but like I said, I just wanted to wait. I didn't just start later just to start later. I started later today because of all of our news this morning, and just to give us some buffer time to kind of let the market chill, right, and see if we can catch a good move. So that's what we're gonna do today. Let me see. 8 hours charting. Oh, nice. Dang, good stuff. 8 hours charting. There we go. That's that screen time I was talking about. That's that screen time I was talking about. That's that's impressive. Um, yeah, and the more educational sessions we have, the more I'll start teaching specific things. And I even try to teach as much as I can during these live sessions too, right? I'm trying to teach you exactly what I'm looking for, exactly the entry models I'm looking for, um, the market structure I'm looking at, right? And that's why I love doing these live sessions while I'm sharing my screen, so you guys can see like exactly what I'm looking at and exactly what I'm expecting to happen, right? So yeah, guys. So I mean, overall, just my only advice today would be just be conservative, be smart, and don't over leverage. If you're going to take trades, play it light, um, and maybe even stay out of today completely, right? If you're not super comfortable with trading a type of day, like an FOMC day. So yeah, right now I'm just kind of being patient, kind of waiting. Hey, there we go, Jordan. Good stuff. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, guys. You guys have obviously seen we've still caught some pretty awesome trades this week, even though we do have FOMC, right? So we've still caught really solid trades, and we've had amazing risk management. So you don't always not have to trade FOMC week, but you have to be very smart with how you trade it. You got to be very smart. Yeah, and guys, even the rest of the week, we still have a lot of news coming out. Like tomorrow, we have unemployment claims. We have, a speaker. We have all this different news coming out. Friday, we have non-farm employment change, right? Unemployment rate. So we're going to see all of this news has a major impact on our market, which just means we're going to be very volatile. So this week in general is an extremely difficult week to navigate. And I think so far we've done a pretty good job, right? But we want to continue that, doing a good job. And just being very smart with what we're doing, right? Very smart with our accounts. Exactly, Zach. That's 100%. Sometimes no loss is also a win. Exactly. If you're not confident or you don't have conviction in a trade, or the market is too erratic for you, it's going to feel a lot better if you just didn't take any trades than if you did take trades when you knew you shouldn't have and then you ended up losing. That's like one of the worst feelings as a trader. Like I know it. I know it too well. I hate that feeling. When I know I should have stayed out of the market, I know I shouldn't have taken the trade I did, and it ends up losing. It's just a terrible feeling. Right, but if I take a loss when I know I love that setup and I had conviction, that's not a bad feeling because it's a trade I was willing to take and that's the risk I wanted to put in the market. That's just a part of trading. But when I take trades and that aren't a part of my plan and I end up losing, it's just like that feeling to me is awful. I hate it. So, I mean, we're still just chopping. Nothing really good right now, in my opinion. There's no trade setups I would take at the moment. Just kind of waiting for something to happen. Exactly, Jordan. Like that's why I love using sports as analogies for trading, especially like a sport like golf, because it is an individual sport. If anybody here has played golf, it's like it's funny because the best golfers are the ones that always hit the ball straight, right? Or the ones that if they hit the ball bad, they have a good recovery shot and they save the hole, right? They save the hole. The worst golfers, and I'm a victim of this pretty a lot, is I'll hit it into the woods, and then I'll be like, oh, you know what? I got to hit it on the green in this next shot, or else I'm going to have a terrible hole. So then I'll go for this crazy shot through a bunch of trees, and what do? I end up hitting a tree, and then I'm setting myself up worse for my next shot, and the hole ends up being worse than it would have been if I just would have hit the ball right back into the fairway, and then, and just been more conservative, right? And those are the best golfers, right? And that's why you see, like, if you've ever golfed with like an older guy, they don't hit the ball far, but they hit the ball straight, right? Like all the time. They're always hitting the ball straight. And that's why they're so good, is because they're not going off the path. They're hitting the ball straight every time, and they're sticking to what their plan is and to what their strengths are. Right? If you can stick to your strengths and in trading, that's your edge, right? Your strengths in trading, that's your edge in the market. If you can just stick to your edge, if you can find an edge, if you found your edge already, just stick to that. Don't go off of that path. Stick with that. And a lot of good things can happen. It's like, don't fix something if it's not broken, right? If you found an edge in the market, why try to fix it by taking all these different random trades that you never would have taken before? Just stick with that plan. Because you found an edge, you found that it works, so just do what works. Don't fix it if it's not broken. Do what works. All right, that's the way I see it. Trading is like your girlfriend. ... One of our best analogies so far. Well, yeah, and I think that's why so many, like retired athletes end up going into golf. And I think that's why a lot of traders can appreciate golf, is because, a lot of people will be like, oh, golf is so boring. But it's such a mentally tough game because it's you. It's only you. You don't have teammates. Maybe you're doing a scramble, you have teammates, but in golf, it's just you. If you hit a bad shot, it's up to you to make up for that. Like, say in basketball, you miss a shot, well, you have a teammate that's going to rebound that ball for you, and you're going to get another chance, or they're going to help you out. But in trading and in golf, if you mess up, it's on you. It's on you. You don't have anybody to help you out, right? I mean, in this community, this is why I love our communities, because we do have people to help each other out. But at the end of the day, you're the one taking those trades, right? But that's why I love having this community, because, we're going to mess up. People are going to mess up. They're going to lose. But now you have people to lean on, and you have knowledgeable people that have been through the same thing as you. And that's what a community is all about, right? Is having people that are going through similar situations, that are trying to achieve the same goals as you, that can support each other, right? And that's what I want this community to be about, right? That's why I'm always trying to spread positivity in this community. No negative energy, right? I want to keep positive energy here, because we're here to help each other, and we're here to support each other. And I think that's the most important thing, and that's what I want this community to be. So yeah, we're still chopping right now, guys. We're not really doing anything. We're just kind of sitting down here around London Low. Just a lot of chop, right? And I'm not going to trade this chop. You'll never see me getting a trade while we're consolidating. You'll never see me getting a trade while we're consolidating. Yeah, Jordan, I do. I think that all the time, actually. I think that all the time. Yeah, so, we're just kind of waiting to see if Price wants to do anything. To see if Price wants to actually have an expansion move, to have a breakout, retracement. So, until that happens, I'm not looking to take any trades, because, guys, there's not any part of this, all of this right here, that I would have taken a trade. So even if we did start our session at market open, there's nothing here that I would have taken. There's not one single setup here that I would have wanted to take. Just look at this. Look at this chop. This is not very appealing to me. This is not very appealing. This does not tell me to hop into trade. Day trader support group. Hey, we got you right here, Sea Breezy. Hey, we got you right here. This is our support group. Like, this is what this group is about. Right? We're here to support each other. I'm actually going to have some exciting news to announce today as well, in terms of our community and someone I'm going to be bringing on to the team. So I hope you guys are ready for that announcement. And it's going to be in a different way than you might expect, but it's going to be pretty cool. We've got a pretty cool plan with this community and how we're going to help you guys. So I'll be sending that announcement out sometime today. Okay, so we're starting to see, actual good movement, some bullish momentum. There we go. Just been kind of waiting for something like this to happen, right? We chop, but now we're seeing actual follow through, actual momentum. No, we're not in anything yet. Not in anything yet. Yeah, I'll probably send that announcement out before FOMC. Yeah, Sea Breezy, I mean, it sucks, man. I know it. I know it. I know it. But I know that you know how to come back from this, right? I'm confident in your abilities and the way you talk about your trading, that you're going to come back from this. You're going to learn from your mistakes, and you're going to be all right. It sucks to have to go through it. It's not a good feeling. I understand that. But all we can do is we can learn, we can journal. Yeah, and we figure out where our weaknesses are and we work on them. Yeah, and if risk management is your weakness right now, then we're gonna figure out how are we gonna fix that, right? How are we gonna fix that risk management? And at the end of the day, I think it comes down to psychology. It comes down to what you're telling yourself throughout your trades, what you're telling yourself before you get into trades, and while you're in trades, right? So I think it's all about diagnosing the problem and then finding a good plan to fix that problem, right? Coming up with a solid plan to fix that problem. And then it's putting that plan into practice. I think those are the 3 steps there. So it is kind of like a support group. It's our 3-step plan. And yeah, I think every trader goes through those phases of you're trading amazing, you trade awesome, you have your edge, and then out of nowhere you have one bad day, and then you kind of just let it, then it becomes kind of like a snowball effect where you start losing your confidence, you start forgetting what your edge was in the first place, and then you just continue to spiral down, right? And that, I think everybody in here has probably been through that before. And there might be other people that are going through that same thing right now. Okay, but the only way we can do, or the only thing we can do, is diagnose what that issue is. Figure out, okay, what was my edge before? Why was I trading so well? What am I doing differently now? How can I get back to that point where I was before, where I was very confident, I traded with conviction, and then we come up with a plan to how you're going to get back to that point. Oh wow, that's tough, man. Yeah, that's a lesson for sure. That's a lesson for sure. So guys, even when we're seeing like some kind of momentum and breakout, we're not really seeing any follow through, right? Because even though we saw this little breakout, we didn't get any follow through here. We bounced out VWAP. We have not tried to push through. Alright, so this is why, I haven't taken any trades, because we're not seeing true momentum. We're not seeing a lot of volume. We're not really seeing anything real happen. So, yeah, guys, like, right now, we're just going to wait. We're just going to wait. Just going to wait. Just like Zach said earlier, sometimes no loss or no trade is also a win, right? Sometimes no trade is also a win. I would be much happier today if I just sat here, and if I don't see any setups and I don't take any losses today, I'd be much happier to just end the day without taking one single trade than if I took some dumb trades and tried to force the market to do what I want, when I have to basically let the market come to me, right? And this is something that I was always taught in sports, was don't force yourself into the game. Let the game come to you, right? Let the game come to you. The more you start to force yourself into the game, you're starting to force, like in basketball, you start to force shots. You start to take dumb shots. You start to ball hog. You start to dribble too much. Instead of allowing that game to come to you, you start to see the court. You start to see your teammates. You start to see the openings, right? You can make better plays, better decisions, right? It's just like trading. Let the market come to you. Let those setups show themselves to you. Don't try to force setups into the market that aren't really there. Hey, what's up, Mark? Yeah, nice. That's a nice trade, dude. So you caught those London shorts. Yeah, so, yeah, that's a nice short. London shorts were nice. Very nice. We had that bounce off that order block up here. Really dropped. Nice catch. Nice catch. So like this hourly candle looks like we're really trying to pump here, guys. It looks like we want to pump. It looks like we want to go grab London high and Asia high. Okay? That's what we're looking like right now. 15-minute is looking like it's trying to pump too. Trying to grab buy side liquidity. We're now like above VWAP here, but we still haven't really gotten too much displacement. We haven't gotten too much displacement, right? We are struggling at VWAP. We're kind of forming a little bit of a double top here. We'll see if we can push through. If we can get displacement, we might see this trend continue all the way up to our London high, maybe even up to our Asia high. And then this ends up becoming a power of 3 with this accumulation, manipulation, distribution, right? Then we might be able to actually catch a pretty solid long setup. So we've got a 5-minute order block here we got to push through. If we're going to continue, all right, this is a point of resistance that we'd have to push through. Which right now we're starting to get momentum. It looks like we're actually trying to move through these levels. So we're going to see if we can push through that order block. Can we push through that bearish order block? Well, we're trying to right now, and we're getting a lot of momentum. Volume's kind of pushing in right now, so we might see that happen. All right, remember that power of 3 I always talk about: accumulation, manipulation, distribution. All right, so this is our accumulation right here. This right here is our manipulation move, and this right here is our distribution, right? But we'd want the distribution move to close above these highs, displace them, right? If we were going to be very patient, we would wait for these highs to get taken out and then retracement to take long. Remember, like I said, the 1 minute time frame is not enough to trust today. For me, I'm not going to trust the 1 minute time frame because of those, the crazy manipulation we see. But like normally right here, if we were getting a breakout and I saw this fair value gap form, this would be an entry I'd be looking for, right? But because of today being very manipulative, I don't know if I would necessarily take that setup, especially when we see this bounce right here on the 5 minute off of this order block. That's a pretty strong bounce off of our 5 minute order block. Right, so that's why you don't really see me entering into a trade yet. This is not a wick that I would enter long off of. Right, we're starting to see that reaction right now. I'm sorry, this 5 minute order block here. Long wick on the 15 minute. So like, look at that pullback there, guys. Very strong pullback here. Strong reaction. The 2 minute looks pretty good to the upside, right? We formed this fair value gap, displacement fair value gap with an order block below, right? Looks like we're going to touch off this order block and we're going to pump. All right, so let's say we were looking for a long setup. Where would our stop loss be? Volumes died down a lot, so we could have pretty decent risk management here. But again, I'm still going to wait a little bit. I want to see what this 5 minute candle does because of the struggle here at this 5 minute order block. But we have potential here to try to push through. But there's just too much struggle here for me to try to get into a trade yet. All right, but typically, yeah, this would be a good long entry, good risk management. You could have a 40 tick stop below VWAP and be chilling. So this looks pretty good right now. Obviously, I didn't take the trade, guys. I didn't take it. But like I said, this could be a pretty decent setup. On a normal day, I probably would have taken this, right? 1-to-1, more than a 1-to-1. Like a first TP above if we break this high. There it goes. So, pretty solid so far. I haven't taken this trade, by the way. Like I said, on a normal day, I probably would have taken that trade. But again, this 5 minute is what was kind of holding me, right? We have a strong 5 minute bearish order block here. My normal stop loss is usually around 50 ticks. It's typically anywhere from 40 to 55 ticks, depending on the trade, depending on our levels. Yeah, there's a lot of factors that go into that, but right, we just see all this manipulation happening in our market. That was a stronger close to the upside there on the 5 minute, but we still have not displaced that order block. We still have not displaced this order block just yet. 2 minute looks very bullish, right? The 2 minute looks very bullish. If we can bounce off this order block, we came down, filled a fair value gap, bounce off VWAP. It looks pretty good. It looks pretty good to the longs. $15 minute doesn't look great. We have an inverse up here on the 15 minute. All right, inverse fair value gap right here on the 15. And look at that reaction we're getting off that inverse. Look at that reaction we're getting off that inverse, right? Alright, this is why you have not seen me take any entry yet. This is why you have not seen me take an entry yet. No entries yet, guys. Just crazy manipulation going on. Like I said, this is what we expect today. We expect a lot of manipulation. If we start to get a pump from here, I might think about entering longs because now, we saw that retest. we can have a pretty good stop loss, down to here. But if we continue to bounce off this 5-minute order block and that 15-minute, like this looks too bearish for me, right? This is too bearish for me because we're getting that very strong bounce off this level. I don't know if I'd want to long this. I don't know if I'd want to long this, right? Yeah, that 15-minute right there is not telling me longs. 15-minute is not telling me longs. All right, so this is why I'm being patient. This is why I'm waiting. Like this 15-minute might come down and close below VWAP here. Right? So yeah, I'm not gonna hop into a trade just yet. Not gonna hop into a trade just yet. I would like to wait for this 5 and 15-minute to close to kind of see where they're going to close at, how this 15-minute candle is going to close. Let's see what that 2 minutes doing here. So like this 2 minute is still respecting that fair value gap, but we have a lot of momentum back down to where I'm just like, man, that's a tough one, right? 30-minute we tapped into OB. We did tap into this 30-minute order block. And we saw a strong reaction back down. Very strong reaction back down. It kind of depends how this 15-minute closes. This 15-minute candle will tell us, okay, are we going to continue to respect, right? We tapped off this 15-minute order block. We're reacting off this 15-minute inverse fair value gap. Are we going to try to push through those levels and close aggressively up? Or is this 15-minute going to come all the way back down and try to close, down here? If it does close down here, well then I'm not gonna look for longs. But if we aggressively pump, I think longs will probably step in all the way up to here. All the way up to our London and Asia highs. That's pretty good momentum there. But guys, we're gonna see so much manipulation today. So much manipulation. Like every time you think that a breakout's gonna happen, they're gonna try to manipulate, right? This market will try to manipulate you. Like all of this, we've seen so many fake outs already within like this 10-15 minute span. A lot of fake outs. Alright, this 15-minute is about to close. It's closing aggressively to the upside. That was a pretty solid close there for that 15-minute. Now it looks like we're going to really try to pump, especially with this 5-minute order block. Right, so this 5-minute order block could be a pretty solid entry now. Yeah, so these longs are starting to look, pretty good here. Longs are starting to look pretty good. Look at that pump. That's a very solid pump there. So this 5-minute order block here, could be a pretty solid level within the next 5 minutes to see, what happens. But remember, you gotta see displacement. Like that was a good close, but we're still inside of that inverse, and we're still bouncing off of an order block up here. So you really need to see strong displacement moves, especially in a market like this, before you really jump into trades. All right, at least that's my opinion. You can do what you want, but that's my opinion. Let's see, 10:10 Eastern. We tapped into a bullish breaker on the 5-minute. Yeah, you're right. We do have a bullish breaker up down here, right? So this high low. So low, high, lower, low, right? So it would be this candle right here. That's our bullish breaker. You're right. We did touch up into that. We touched into it twice. So we touched into it here at 7:50 a.m. and pumped, and then we touched it here down around 10:10 a.m. Yeah, so we definitely had this breaker pattern. right? And we saw that reaction afterwards. We saw that strong reaction afterwards, right? So definitely a good eye there. Good breaker pattern. And guys, that's why like these 5 and 15-minute breaker blocks are like, that's why I love them so much. That's why I love these so much, because look at, like, if you go back in your charts and you continue to look for those 5 and 15-minute breakers, like, you're gonna see how much they play out. Like, they play out plenty of times, right? So yeah, we're struggling here at this 5-minute order block. We're seeing a lot of resistance. This 15-minute inverse, we're seeing a lot of resistance. Alright, that's why I like to wait for confirmation. I like to wait for displacement, because even on this pump right here, we never saw displacement. Look how we wick above, and we come all the way back down with no displacement. No displacement, right? We also got SMT up here. And look at how ES never broke this high, and look how NQ broke that high. Right? So, yeah, we see a lot of SMT. I have a few different videos on breakers. Like I have I'm gonna, you know what, I'll make one today, and I'll put it on my YouTube, and then I'll send that link out. Okay, so remember, we're waiting for displacement. We're waiting for displacement of these highs. Yeah, what's your max drawdown? Like 4,000 to 5,000, I'm assuming. I always forget. I don't really trade 100Ks. Hey, well, I'm glad you found me. On the 15-minute, do we have a bearish breaker? Let's see. On the 15-minute, we don't really have a bearish breaker here on the 15-minute. Let me look. 15-minute. You know, maybe high, low, higher, high up here. I could kind of see that, but there's not too clear of a bearish breaker here on the 15-minute. Maybe on the 5-minute. Yeah, there's nothing up here that's too clear of a breaker for me to have you know, felt confident. Up here on the 5 or the 15-minute. But we did have a market structure shift, right? And sometimes even without a breaker, sometimes all you need to see is that market structure shift, retracement into a fair value gap or order block, and you can take that short. All right, like here you see this fair value gap form, retrace into it, drop, take it short, right? Retracement into this order block, drop, take it short. Alright, we're still really struggling to try to push through this 15-minute inverse in our 5-minute order block here. Right, if we would have gotten strong displacement on this 5-minute here, closed above, and then we retraced back into this order block, I most likely would have taken it long. But because we didn't get any displacement, I'm not going to take it long. Right, I will not be taking it long. We haven't gotten displacement on the 1-minute, the 5-minute, the 15-minute. Like, none of those. So I don't have any conviction in taking the longs right now. You know, maybe like on a normal day of trading and I was feeling aggressive, maybe I would take the longs because of our structure. But no, not today. Not today, especially because we have these resistance levels. We're not pushing through those levels whatsoever. You know, I'm not going to be taking it long until I see displacement. And I really could care less if I get, you know, if I miss out on a trade opportunity. I don't care. Like I'm completely okay with missing out on a trade opportunity if I'm waiting for my setup. And that's another thing that, you really need to get to that point where you can be completely okay and not have FOMO if you miss out on a trade, even though it's what you were expecting to happen overall. If you don't see your setup, then like if I don't see my setup and I see the trade go my way, I don't care. Because I'm just happy that my analysis overall was correct. I'm like, okay, check that one off. My analysis is there, but I didn't get my setup, so let me write that down. Like let me journal. Okay, very solid risk management, very solid psychology today, and really good analysis. But if I don't see my setup, then I'm not going to take it, and I'm not going to get FOMO that my trade ended up hitting, right? Even though I didn't get in it. Because more often than not, when you don't wait for your setups and those trades will often go against you, especially when you get into it when you don't have a setup, that tends to go against you more often, right? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, you guys have seen that with me sometimes, right? You guys have probably seen that with me. I don't know if you were with me. If you watch my sessions at Traders Evolve, there's even been a few trades like last week where you saw me get more aggressive, and I still took trades that I wanted to take. Like I still stuck to a plan, but like I got more aggressive and then I got stopped out, right, pretty quick, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a step back, right? So although I planned on being aggressive, it's still like a little bit humbling. You're like, okay, I'm gonna stick to my plan, and things will be all right. Right, and then we've seen. I mean, I think so far in the past, since I opened this new Discord, I think we've had maybe one losing day over the course of the past eight days, I think, or something. I don't know. So, and it's because I'm not trying to say that in an arrogant way whatsoever. I'm just trying to say that in a way of like, it's because when we do lose, we take a step back and we kind of reset. I reset and I think, okay, I'm going to stick to my plan now. I'm not going to revenge trade, but now I'm going to wait for a good setup. And if it's there, I'll take it. And if we lost before, I'm going to take a good solid setup, and now we're back in the green, or now we're back at break even, instead of trying to force dumb trades and be aggressive and then end up more red than we were before. My time zone on TradingView will always be on Eastern time. Yeah, so my TradingView time zone is on Eastern. Even though I'm on Pacific time, I like having it on Eastern time. And it's definitely easier for everybody else because that's what the market goes off of, right? The market is on Eastern time. So, when it comes to our kill zones and everything, it's just good to have that Eastern time pulled up on TradingView. That's what I like to do. Okay, so our 5 minute just closed. Still not getting any displacement on the 5 minute. Right, like even though we might get a good bounce from here off this 5 minute order block, we still haven't displaced, so I'm still not gonna take this trade. All right, 15 minute has about a little over 4 minutes left. Right, we still haven't even seen displacement on our 1 minute time frame, which like that's enough to keep me out of a trade. Right, if we don't even have displacement on a 1 minute time frame, then I'm not then I'm really not thinking about taking a trade. Alex, I don't think people realize like how many times I've been in that same exact position. I have done that more times than probably most people, and I've probably blown more accounts than most people because I went through that, man. I went through that, and there's still days where I start to get into like a tendency of where my mind will try to play tricks with me, and my mind will try to tell me keep trading, keep trading, keep trading. You're gonna make your money back. And like my biggest way of getting against, is to fight that urge is to journal or to completely step away from my computer and to go do something else. To literally close off all of my, don't even have the temptation to trade, right? Sometimes you can have amazing self-control, but if that temptation is there, it's still going to be difficult to have that self-control. But it's a lot easier to have self-control if the temptation isn't even there, right? So if you can take yourself out of that environment, and this goes with a lot of things in life, but if you can take yourself out of that environment completely, then you don't even need that self-control anymore, right? Because now you don't even see that temptation, you're going to be all right. So that's what I always recommend is if you start to feel yourself going into that, just walk away. Literally don't trade the rest of the day until you can come back with a better mindset. Yeah, so very strong candle on that 1 minute. Still hasn't displaced yet. We haven't displaced this high, but we're starting to see that, trying to displace. That is a nice candle there, but again, we still have not displaced. And we also just got some more SMT between ES and NQ. Right, like, again, guys, look at all this stuff. Why would I trade this? Why would I trade any of this stuff right here? This is no bueno. No bueno. No me gusta. Right? I don't like this stuff. Look at all these crazy wicks. Look at all this manipulation. This is awful. This is awful price action. So, like, I'm not going to trade this. Like I said, every time you think there's gonna be a breakout, look what happens. We manipulate back the opposite way. And you can tell a lot of the time because we didn't get displacement. Right down here, we saw displacement right here, and then we saw a continuation up. So this is more, more confidence or more conviction. So now, like, we don't get displacement, and then we see a price completely retrace and all the way back down, right? So it's just a lot of manipulation. Yeah, exactly. These candles are moving 50 plus ticks, right? A 1 minute candle. That's how you get stopped out. That's how you get stopped out pretty quickly. We just closed, so that 15 minute just closed back inside of that inverse again. Our 5 minutes still closed inside of that order block, right? So now I would be expecting us to try to head back down, right? But with this price action, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? This price action's all over the place. So I would be expecting us to drop from here. Right? If this is a normal day, we might still drop from here. Excuse me. Like when I see us wick all the way up, touch off an order block, respect an inverse fair value gap. Sorry, guys. I got sick like 2 weeks ago, and I still can't get over this cold. Probably because I'm staying up late every night. But yeah, so on a normal day, I'd be expecting us, right? We wake up, bounce off a 15-minute order block, respect an inverse fair value gap. I would expect us to drop back down, right? But today is FOMC, so we might just continue to chop up and down. Right. So I'm going to be honest with you here. I probably am not going to take a trade. I mean, we've been watching this market for an hour now, and I still haven't seen any setup I would have taken. There's still no setup I would have taken throughout this. Even throughout this pump, like, even though someone might say we could have taken longs from the bottom, there's plenty of opportunity. I still wouldn't have taken a trade. There's still nothing here that would have given me enough conviction to get into a trade. And if I did, you would have seen me trade it, right? If I had conviction, I would have taken a trade. I'm not just staying out to stay out. I'm staying out because I don't have any clear trade setups that I want to take. Let's see how that hourly closed. Hourly closed bullish. All right, so we have all these equal highs up here. I would be expecting us to try to come up and take out these equal highs, right? That's like my expectation, especially after coming down here, bouncing off an order block, pumping on the 1 hour. I would expect us to try to come up here and take out London high, London low. But, you know, we're not doing that. We're not doing that just yet, so... So yeah, I just don't see a point in getting any trades right now. So like, I just want to ask you guys, and this isn't to like try to call anybody out or to make anybody feel bad, but this is just for, you know, learning purposes. How many people so far have taken trades? And if you have, are you green or red? Okay, so we're seeing a pretty good mix. We're seeing a pretty good mix of red and green. So that's not bad, right? I'm happy because I'm seeing more green than I expected to see, but I'm still seeing a lot of red. But I'm happy to see a little more green than I expected. That's good. Okay, that's good. Right, but for those people that are red, you probably got manipulated, right? You probably got manipulated because of this volatility. Right, and that's just a learning moment. That's just, you know, it happens. It's a learning moment. That's a learning moment. And that's okay. It's okay, right? It's not to feel bad about it or anything, but it's just to learn from. It's just to learn from it. So let's see what's happening over here. Like I said, on a normal day, I would expect us to drop. Right, but look at all this manipulation. Look how right when we pump down, we displace this low. We just go the opposite way. Oh, my screen's loading. Here, let me restart the stream real quick, or not the live, but let me just reshare my screen. How's that? Am I back? Are we back? Alright, cool. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, so I mean, you guys can see, if you got in those shorts up here, you know, you might be still good right now, but you might have gotten stopped out already. Right? Because we're kind of, you know, you're kind of chasing the breakout. I'm not saying like, this looks like, on technical analysis, this looks like we're trying to drop, right? We respect this inverse. We bounce off an order block. We for sure look like we're trying to drop, right? But this is not a normal day of technical analysis. This is not a normal day of price action. That's why we're seeing so much manipulation. So I'm sure a lot of people that got in that short, they got in down here, and now they got stopped out, or they're close to their stop, right? Yeah, see, that's a good question, AP. Like, were those wins that you guys got today, were they real solid wins, or were they luck? And I'm going to assume that, you know, they were good solid wins, because I know that people here have very good abilities and know, you know, are being smart, but sometimes that's not the case, and sometimes you might have just gotten lucky. Yeah, switching to micros is a great plan. If you're gonna continue to trade today, micros are definitely a good way to go. Yeah, so like I said, it looks like we want to continue this downward trend. Looks like we want to continue that bounce off of that 15-minute inverse. Off this 5-minute order block. But there's just so much manipulation going on. There's no follow through happening. Every time we start to break out, we start to chop. Yeah, and Johnny, that's a good point, right? Today is a kind of day, if you're going to trade, that you probably want to scalp more than hold trades. Right, that's a good move down. So if you are in these shorts, you're looking pretty good right now. You're looking pretty good. Right, and you could try to hold them down all the way back down to this 5-minute breaker. Right, so like I said, the shorts do look pretty good. We did get that good bounce off of that 15-minute inverse, off our 5-minute order block. Alright, they're looking nice. But I would make sure you're securing profit, you're moving your stop to break even, you're moving your stop into profit. Right? Just playing it smart. Playing it smart. It's the best thing you can do for yourself. Okay, we have a 5-minute order block down here. So this could be a point that we bounce from. So if you're in these shorts, I would definitely think about securing some profit at some point. At some point down here. All right, definitely try to think about securing some profit. Leave runners. Move your stop to break even. Move your stop into profit. If you did, I know a lot of people are in these shorts right now. I can just assume that because this is like one of the first actual breakouts we've seen. So I'm just gonna assume that a lot of people are in these shorts. Although I'm not in the shorts, and like I said, I don't care that I've missed out on this trade. I'm completely okay. I don't have FOMO. I'm good with sitting out of this. But yeah, so that next level, right? We could bounce from this 5-minute order block here. We could bounce. We could come all the way down into this 5-minute breaker down here. All right, we have this 5-minute breaker. Wow, nice drop. That was a nice drop from that inverse. Nice drop from that inverse. About 5 minutes left on our 15 and 5-minute candles. Right, but like this is the kind of day where I would probably, if I was in this trade, I would have definitely already taken profit. Especially if we come down into this breaker. Right, we also have another order block here. Because you can see that we've ranged up and down a lot today. So you can leave runners. I think it's always a good idea to leave runners. But the farther you go down, I like to move my stop into profit, right? Especially when we've seen this ranging up and down, we could definitely see us bounce from here and come all the way back up. And literally within the next 5 minutes, we could see that happen. All right, so just something to keep in mind. Alright, and if there's anybody new that has just joined up, I still have not taken any trades today. I'm still sitting out of this market. Not having FOMO. Like, I don't see the need right now for me to jump in any trade. I don't really care that I missed out on this trade, right? And it's not even missing out on the trade. Like, that's kind of a bad word to use. Bad phrase to use. It's just I didn't get in. I didn't want to trade this, so I didn't do it, right? Precisely. It didn't meet my standards 100%. 100%. And like I said, on a normal day, if this was a normal day without crazy news, I probably would have, thought about taking this. I probably would have thought about taking this. Right? Because of that bounce off of our 15 and 5 minute order block, our respect of this 15-minute inverse. Yeah, on a normal day, I probably would have tried to take it, right? But not today. Not today. Trades are like girlfriends, they must meet certain standards. Exactly. I think that's with everybody. With everybody I meet. If I'm gonna have you, if you're gonna be in my life and you're gonna be an important person in my life, you gotta meet standards, and I would hope people feel the same way about me. Right? You gotta have good people around you in your life if you wanna. It's like that saying: surround yourself with 5 good people, right? Or it doesn't have to be 5, but it's like the 5 people you hang out with the most is going to be a reflection of who you are, right? And I take that very seriously. I try to surround myself with people that have already done way more than me, that I want to be like, right? That I want to have the same character as them. Right? Like people like that are going to uplift me, that are going to be encouraging, and that are going to make me a better person, right? Those are the people I want to hang out with. People that hold me accountable, right? If I'm messing up, they're going to call me out. So here we got this 1 minute fair value gap. We retrace into it, and we start to bounce, right? We start to drop, right? So like if you wanted to take another entry, I know we're at the bottom of this range, so it's not always the smartest decision to take a short in the bottom of a range, right, down in the discount. But again, if you're expecting this drop to continue down to these lows, this would be another entry here. Retrace into a fair value gap, drop. Right? But at the bottom of a range, when we're in a discount, I typically don't like to short, especially when we're at like a strong support level, like this 5 minute order block, and we're coming down into a 5 minute bullish breaker. Typically like to not short at those levels. Right? I like to wait for price to retrace back up into our premium of that range, right? Like a fair value gap up here on the 5 minute. Things like that. But as you can see, this would have been a pretty decent entry so far. This would have been a pretty decent entry so far. Exactly, Jackie Chan. Yep, you want people around you that are leveling up in life for sure. For sure. Or people that have already done it, right? People that have already, done what you hope to do. Right, and they can offer you that insight and that support, like having a mentor, right? Like I have a business mentor who has already done it. He's already been through it. He's already found success, and now he has helped me in many ways by offering advice and by supporting me through a lot of stuff. Right, and that's why I think it's very important to find a mentor in life that that's doing what you want to do or that's already done it. And all, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be anything. It could be business. It could be plenty of different things. Exactly, right? Exactly. It is hard to find those people. I agree. It is hard to find those people. Oh yeah, so that entry there would have been a pretty solid re-entry. I don't know if anybody took it. Right, I obviously didn't take it. So, but remember on those breakouts, you see those fair value gaps form. You see those order blocks form. Those are good entries on that 1 minute time frame, right? Those are solid entries on the 1 minute time frame to try to get in. Okay, so now we're really trying to push through this 5 minute bullish breaker, right? If we push through this bullish breaker, if we displace it, you know, I might start thinking about taking the shorts. You know, if we get strong displacement here on this 5 minute time frame, I might think about taking shorts. Right, but it's got to be a very good setup. Like, we're looking like we're really trying to displace this low right now. We're trying to push through that breaker. So if you're still holding these shorts, I mean, I would probably keep holding these personally. You know, I would have my stop well into profit at this point. If you got in up here and you're still holding this, I mean, that's pretty solid, guys. For those of you that are in this trade, pretty solid. Pretty nice there. So yeah, I'm going to see, you know, do we displace this low on the 5 minute? If we do, might have a pretty good setup. Now that would be a 5 minute bearish breaker here. Pretty big bearish breaker, but you can see, you know, it's not technically, because, you know, we would have wanted to take out that high up here for that bearish breaker. There we go, groovy. Good stuff, man, good stuff. Right, so now what I'm waiting for, so this is kind of like yesterday, right, where I didn't get into the shorts until we broke structure to the downside, and I had a target all the way down here. Like today we have that target. Right, so now I wait for a 5 minute break of structure, and then I'm going to look at the 1 minute for entries. Right, if we get that 5 minute break of structure and we retrace, you know, up into a fair value gap, up into an order block, I might look to take it short. I might look to take it short, but I need to see displacement. I need to see this 5 minute candle close below this breaker. I need to see it close below that breaker for me to have that conviction to try to short this, right? And then I wait for retracement, displacement and retracement, displacement and retracement. Remember, because we still range up and down a lot today. But if we displace this low and this breaker, I think it'll look pretty solid, right? Again, we can still get a bounce from here. Let's see, 5 minute close with displacement. That's pretty strong, you know, pretty good displacement there. Now we have a little 1 minute order block we could form right here. We have this fair value gap, right? So if we start to see reaction off this fair value gap, you know, I might look to take it short. But let's see what our risk management would look like here, right? Because we still could retrace pretty aggressively here, so I wouldn't rush into any trade. But if we start to see a reaction, I might look to take it short and kind of hold these shorts for a little while. You know, I'm just kind of waiting to see that reaction happen before I get in the entry. Okay, I just entered in half a lot there, guys. I just entered in half a lot. Entered in half a lot. 17,427.5. Okay. I'll keep my stop about 50 ticks, the top of this imbalance. Remember, guys, this is more a riskier play here because we could still get a lot of retracement. And I'm going based off of this 1 minute, right? It's a 1 minute entry. So it's still a riskier play because we do have potential to retrace a little bit more. But after seeing displacement down here, I wanted to test it out. I wanted to test it out, right? Because now it's riskier because we are in a 5 minute bullish order block, right? But I'm assuming that we're gonna continue to try to drop through that. But right now it's not looking too hot, right? And that's why I only entered in half a lot here. 50 tick stop. If I get stopped out, well, that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. Like I said, it's a little bit riskier because we could still retrace. But this is kind of like the only move I want to look. So I just got stopped with half a lot. So not a big loss. But that's kind of like, this is the only setup I'll be looking for, is these shorts. You know, maybe we retrace a little bit further. Maybe we form like a, you know, we're kind of retracing. Like I said, we have potential to retrace. So after we displaced, I was looking for, you know, a fair value gap to enter, and I did that. Okay, got stopped out. We want to retrace more. That happened. So now I'm kind of waiting back. I'll be patient again. I'll be patient, wait for a good setup, right? Because we still didn't displace this order block down here, but we did displace our bullish breaker. Right, so now I'm going to kind of wait. Now we've created equal lows down here. Now we've created equal lows down here. So we have a strong sell side liquidity level. So now if we get, you know, a solid level to take short, I'll still look for shorts. Right, we're in another fair value gap. We're coming up to this 1 minute order block. We'll see what happens. Now I need to see very strong reaction off of a level to take short. I would need to see a very strong reaction off this order block up here for me to even think about shorting it, right? This is a very aggressive move back up. Very aggressive move back up. So now I'm going to be patient, going to kind of wait. That 15-minute candle hasn't displaced, right? So this would be another thing we could wait for, is a displacement on the 15-minute, because now we're looking like, oh, we're trying to head back up on that 15. But that 5-minute is where I wanted to see us continue to go down, right? All right, so if we still see a reaction back down, I'll still look for shorts, you know, maybe off this 1 minute order block. But if we continue to push up aggressively and we continue to range back to the upside, I'm not going to short it, right? So now I'm going to wait for something very clear. So my half lot today, I'm going 2 minis today, so my half lot is 1 mini. 1 mini. All right, first trade of the day. So, right, like let's say I do get in another trade and I take a loss, well, I'll probably be done. I'll call it a day, and I'm fine with that, because that's not, to me, that's not a very big loss. To me, that's not a very big loss, but right, only if I see the setup really start to come into play here. Like, let's say we respect this fair value gap, and we start to drop, maybe I'll think about shorting. But if we continue to pump, you know, I'm not going to get in the shorts. Right, especially this 15-minute is not a very good candle to short right now. This 15-minute is looking kind of bullish here. It's looking like we're trying to head back up. But we also have a big old imbalance we're forming on the 15-minute. Right, so we could see retracement possibly all the way back up to VWAP, right? So that's why I'm waiting patiently here. Waiting patiently for another setup. You know, I'm not really gonna jump into a trade too aggressively. Right, but like I said, this was the one trade that I wanted to see if this trend would continue to the downside. So let's see what happens here. Let's see what happens. You know, this is one of those days where it might be a day where I move my stop to break even pretty quick, even before taking profit. Okay, so we're respecting this fair value gap so far, but we also have a few bullish imbalances that we could react off of, right? So that's why you haven't seen me get another entry. This 15-minute right here is kind of keeping me from wanting to short this so far. But you know, this 5-minute, if this 5-minute turns into an order block, shorts would be pretty good. But right now, I think we might kind of get some retracement back in the longs here. All right, so I'll be patient. I'll wait. So one loss with half a lot for me is not bad, right? And that's the risk I was willing to take on that trade. Not bad, right? About 50 tick loss. I'm chilling here. I'm chilling. But like I said, I'm really only willing to take, probably only willing to take 2 losses today overall. right? And after that, no, I'm not in anything right now. After that, I'll probably just call it a day and be like, all right, well, I tested it out and didn't work out, so I'm done. I'm not going to overtrade. I'm not going to let the market get to me. Right, but this is the first real breakout we've seen so far with actual momentum. Right, and after displacing, I like the setup, and it didn't work out. Okay, now I kind of recalibrate and see what's going to happen next. Like I said, we could retrace all the way up into this 5-minute fair value gap up here. There's a possibility we do that. Well, I'm not going to trade leading up to, to FOMC, like right before FOMC. So maybe we'll hop on after FOMC. Maybe I'll just do another educational session, but I don't know if I'm going to run another trading session today. Just because the closer we get to FOMC, guys, the worse the price action is going to be, the more volatile it's going to be. So, I don't want to encourage trading during that time, but maybe we'll hop on. I'll probably still run an educational, and then maybe we can hop on after. I'll keep you guys updated. Okay, so we're still trending up. We've now displaced this 1-minute fair value gap. So let's see if we're going to come into this 5-minute SIBI. See if we get a bounce off this 1-minute order block. Alright, but like I said, this 15 minutes looking pretty bullish here. Right, we didn't displace on the 15. We got a bounce from a 15-minute order block. So it's looking kind of bullish. But again, we're forming this 15-minute fair value gap, bearish fair value gap up here. This 15-minute closes in 1 minute. So we'll see, do we trade up into it and still get that drop? With our equal lows down here, we have a target of liquidity. We still could bounce back. We could still drop back down, right? But we need to wait for that retracement at this point. Okay, we're seeing a reaction off that 1-minute order block. But let's see, 30 seconds left on this 15-minute. See how this one closes. We'll see how this closes here. I guess, we might try to come up into this 5-minute SIBI. Alright, 15-minute. It looks like it's trying to close bullish here. And it did. It closed bullish. Okay, so this could still be a 15-minute order block. Right? We could still trade up into the 15-minute fair value gap, into the 5-minute SIBI possibly, and drop. Alright, so let's see here what we do. See if we're going to trade up more or if we're just going to start to drop from here. Price action right now looks like we're going to continue to pump a little bit. I'd at least want to see us touch up into that fair value gap, right? And we've seen today, we've ranged up and down, right? So when we're at the bottom of the range, it looks like we want to range back up. But again, we have this strong sell-side liquidity down here that we generated, so I would expect price to try to go back down and target that liquidity at some point, right? At some point. All right, we just don't want to get caught in manipulation. All right, like let's say I wanted to take a short entry off this 1-minute order block, off the reaction off that 15. I could have a decent stop loss, like up to the bottom of this 5-minute imbalance, but if I'm expecting price to try to push into that 5-minute imbalance, I'm probably not going to look to take that. But if we start to see a really strong reaction back down, maybe I'll think about it. See the 15-minute over here on ES form those equal lows down here as well. Touch into that fair value gap is bouncing off VWAP. This looks like an order block being formed on the 15, right? So we still look like we could head down from here. Right, but we just don't want to get caught in manipulation. Don't want to get caught in that manipulation here. I'm just going to continue with that patience. Continue to wait here. Wait for something good. All right, we're kind of starting to consolidate again. You know, if you think about it, we formed those equal lows on an hourly time frame. We might not drop down for those lows until after this hourly closes. You know, we displaced this 30-minute order block. You know, this could be a strong point of resistance here. But we didn't even displace this low here, so you know, that's what's keeping me from getting in any shorts yet. This 5-minute displacement of that bearish breaker is what, or the bullish breaker is what made me want to get in the shorts, right? So we're moving pretty slow, but let's see if we're trying to push up into that 5-minute SIBI. If we do, we might see a nice reaction back down. Okay, there's that pump. You can see on the 15, strong pump. All right, we can look at what our 50% level of this 15-minute imbalance is. Right, and that 50% level of the imbalance lines up almost exactly with that 5-minute 50%, right? So that level up here at the 5-minute, this is, you know, could be that point where we do try to come back down. But if we just push through this aggressively, you're not going to see me try to short it just yet. Okay, it looks like we're creating an equal high, relative to equal high on the 5-minute here. You know, that would be nice if we start this 5-minute candle going up, touch into this fair value gap and react back down. I would like to see that happen. You know, if that's the case, especially because look at our range here. Let's see what our 50% is. Look at, we're above the 50% of this range now. So we're in a premium. So this is when I would start to think, you know, shorts could be in play again if we get a bounce from this 5-minute. Right, and they could come all the way back down to this low here. So we barely touched into that 5-minute. I would want to see us touch a little bit more into that. Let's see, we're starting to get a strong reaction off that level. Strong reaction off that 5-minute. I wanted to see us kind of touch up into that a little bit more before I got an entry. Alright, so we'll see what happens here. Just gotta wait and see. Patience, patience, patience. Today is all about patience. Okay, we're still in this bullish trend right now. So I'd want to see this 5-minute touch up into that a little bit more. I want to see this 5-minute touch up into this imbalance a little bit more. And then wait for that reaction. But I mean, we're struggling here. We are struggling to push up. You know, but here's the thing, we're creating all these equal highs here. I would expect this to be a little manipulation move, and then for us to take out these equal highs, right? That's why I've waited, because now we have a bunch of equal highs. We manipulate down, get a bunch of people in the shorts, and then we come back up, take that liquidity, and then drop, right? So that's what I'm waiting for. Okay, so now we're pushing up into that. Remember, I'm not just going to get an entry off an aggressive bullish candle, right? But if I start to see a strong reaction off that level, that's when I would start to think about shorting. But this candle's too bullish right now for me to short until I start to see a reaction. Okay, like that's a pretty good reaction there. It's a pretty good reaction there. Pretty good reaction. Let's see. It'd be smart to wait for this 5-minute to close here. Right, but that is a good reaction off that level. So, you know, if we start to see more momentum back down, I might start to think about shorting, but I want to see this 5-minute candle. All right, I want to see what this 5-minute candle, how it closes. All right, we've got about a little over 30 seconds left on this candle. But we are seeing that resistance from up here. We've hit that equilibrium of that imbalance, and we're seeing a strong resistance, which is why I'm starting to get a little more conviction in this trade. But let's see how this 5-minute closes here. All right, this is why I haven't hopped in yet, because this 5-minute could start to push pretty aggressively. All right, still waiting here, still waiting. All right, we're pushing way too much momentum right now for me to short. Way too much momentum for me to short. All right, that's why I have not gotten an entry. But if we push, we get a bounce off VWAP, and we come back down, we start to move back down, I'll think about, you know, getting in the shorts. But not until that happens. All right, because look at that aggressive pump here. Yeah, so just too much bullish momentum for me to short. Too much right now. Man, if we see this 5-minute candle start to flip and aggressively start to move down, that's when I would think about shorting it. All right, if this thing completely reverses, if this candle starts to reverse and starts to head down aggressively, that's when I would start hopping in the shorts. But not until then. Not until then. We're still too bullish. Still too bullish as of right now. But I do love, guys, on the day overall, I love that we formed these equal lows. And I think we'll come back down for those equal lows at some point. You know, we might wait until this hourly closes. This hourly looks pretty bullish. The hourly looks pretty bullish right now. So we might, wait until this hourly closes and then try to come back down and target those lows. Well, don't be sorry. Like I said, I was expecting the longs to retrace at least up to this 5 minute, right? So I was expecting that retracement, but I was waiting to see if we would get a bounce from here, and we didn't get that bounce, so I'm not entering in anything. Right? I mean, you definitely could have tried to trade this range, right? Trade that bounce from down here, trade the short here, bounce here, right? But yeah, don't apologize for taking a good setup. That's solid. All right, so I'm just waiting now. I will not short unless I see this 5 minute start to drop very aggressively. Oh yeah, that's like, that whole faded thing is like whatever. Yeah. I really could care less if people fade me, like you have your own, you have free will to do what you want, right? And if it works out for you, I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you, right? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I got you. I got you, bro. I know what you mean. Okay, so we're starting to see that reaction. We're starting to see that movement back down. If this 5 minute, we're getting a reaction off that 1 minute order block. If this 5 minute starts to head down, like I said, we've got 1 minute left. I would need to see this 5 minute really aggressively head down and respect this imbalance, closing below VWAP, for me to short. If that doesn't happen, you're not going to see me short this market when we have such aggressive bullish momentum. Right, now we're creating a balanced price range here on the 15 minute. So we'll see if this 15 minute comes up and tries to displace and touches back into that 15 minute inverse. Okay, we've got about 30 seconds left on this 5 minute. We just got some SMT here. NQ just swept that high. ES did not. But I really need to see us really aggressively drop here, or else I'm not going to short this. Okay, so our 5 minute closed above. 5 minute closed above. So that next level of resistance I'd be looking at. I mean, we're still in a 15 minute imbalance here. We're still in a 15 minute imbalance. But that real next level of resistance I would expect is this 15 minute inverse again. Right, which is at the top of that range. So at the top of that range is where we dropped from before. We're also heading into lunch hour, so if I don't take another trade, I won't take another trade. Like if I don't see anything good, I'll wait. But yeah, this is why being patient is very important, because I could have tried to short. I could have tried to short this 1 minute, off of this order block, right? But we're seeing that we're not getting that rejection, right? That's why I look at the 5 and the 15 minute time frame. Right, the 5 and the 15 minute time frame will tell us a lot. They will tell us a lot. Yeah, we'll see if we do get that rejection here. I mean, that 15 minute, we're in that fair value gap. I just don't like that we closed above VWAP there, but at this point, I wouldn't short until I actually saw us like really move down. Because we are respecting this 1 minute order block and fair value gap, but after disrespecting that 5 minute, I kind of want to wait and see if we're going to pump up to this 15 minute inverse again. All right, and maybe short again from this 15-minute inverse. Right, and if we see rejection off that 15-minute inverse again, you know, that's something I would probably just hold and probably swing for like the next hour or so and see if it comes all the way down to take out these equal lows. But we also got to keep in mind we might have created these equal lows for FOMC to come take out later, right? We might have created these equal lows for FOMC to take out later. All right, we're starting to see a little bit of a drop. Okay, we don't want to get caught in a manipulation. But if we start to displace lows and we start to, like, say we take out this order block and we form these breakaway fair value gaps on the 1 minute, breakaway order blocks, then I'll start to think about, you know, then I'll look for a short. But we don't want to get caught in a manipulation move where we're just faking out right now to come back to that 15-minute. Alright, so at this point I'd be waiting if I was going to short this. I mean, we are at the top of this range, but I would be waiting for us to form a little fair value gap order block, right? Maybe displace this 1 minute order block here, then retrace. That's when I would think about shorting it. Okay, we're starting to get that momentum now. So if we start to see displacement, we wait for retracement, and we could definitely find a good trade. Alright, we still have our sell side target. We just don't want to get caught in manipulation. That's why we want to wait for breaks of structure. Alright, we still have not broken structure. We haven't broken this low right here, this order block. So you're not going to see me jump into a trade just yet. Hey, let's go, Radical Whooper. Let's go. That's awesome, dude. Big time right there. That's big time. You better send that payout to our member payout tab. I want to see that when you take it out. Hey, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Right, that right there is what's possible with this trading thing, right? Those profits are what's possible if you can keep that discipline. Okay, so we just displaced that order block, so that's a good sign. So now maybe we wait for retracement up into this 1 minute fair value gap, or we wait for a 1 minute order block to form. Alright, we're in a little 5 minute bullish fair value gap. Okay, but we're starting to break that structure. Okay, I love that we broke that low, we displaced that order block. That's a good sign. But now, gotta wait for the right entry. I'm not gonna hop in the shorts down here with no real entry, right? Gotta wait for retracement. Remember, I'm not gonna chase. I'm not gonna chase price. Say we drop 200 ticks right now and I miss out on it. That's fine. Okay, I'm not gonna chase. I'm not gonna chase. I'm gonna wait for my trade. I'm not going to get in at the bottom of a move, even if it does end up going in my favor. Like, even if it does do exactly what I expected it to do. Alright, that's a pretty aggressive drop there. We're definitely heading down for those lows. We're heading down for those equal lows for sure. Look at that move. Wow, we are ranging so much today, guys. A lot of ranging today. So now I'm definitely looking for shorts, but I'm just waiting for that chance, right? Waiting for that opportunity. I'm not going to chase these shorts. I'm not going to get FOMO. Alright, I'm waiting for that entry. Because if I get in now, guys, the likelihood of me getting stopped out is probably higher than the likelihood of me getting to my full TP. Alright, but the more I wait for a retracement, for an actual level to short off of, the higher my chances are of hitting my TP, and the lower my chances are of getting stopped out. The more you chase these moves, you'll get lucky sometimes for sure. But the more you chase them, the more you're going to see that's not a sustainable way to trade. Trust me, I've tried it. I've tried to chase breakouts. And I've gotten lucky plenty of times, but the losses outweighed the luck way more. Way more. Because if you try to chase all these breakouts, price is going to come back on you. It's going to stop you out before the real move happens. Okay, so now this is when I'm actually looking for a short. We just formed an order block with the fair value gap above it. So this, to me, is now a better entry. This, to me, is now a better entry. Okay, so if we get a reaction off of this fair value gap, I'll start to short this. If we can get a good reaction off of it, I'll start to look to short. Okay, I'm going to test it out. I'm going to test it out here. Full position. I just went into full position. I just went into full position there, okay? So my entry's pretty low, so I'm going to keep my stop just above. My entry is here. Where's my entry? 17,434.25. Okay, but we reacted off that fair value gap. Remember, we're kind of at the bottom. It's not the best entry, but I'm going to keep my stop up here. I'm going to keep my stop at 17,446.75. Okay, but we formed a fair value gap. We formed a 1 minute order block. This is when I would want to see price bounce. Okay, and if I time it wrong again, well, that's tough. But I'm looking for us to come down and take out these shorts here, these equal lows. We have our target. My TP is going to be down at these equal lows. I'm going to hold all the way down to there for my first TP. About 89 ticks for my first TP, okay? So we just need to see that follow through. We need to see that follow through. We form a fair value gap on a breakout move. We break structure. We form a 1 minute order block. We trade up into it. We bounce. That's what gave me that confirmation and that conviction. Because of these equal lows down here, I think we're trying to go take out those equal lows. Right? But, you know, we just want to time it right. And if my timing's wrong, well, I'll take my loss and I'll take a step back, right? So far, my timing has not been on. My timing has not been right so far. Right, but these are the only entries that I've been wanting to take so far, right? So I've been sticking to my plan, and if my plan doesn't work out, I can live with that. I can live with that. All right, but we need to see a bounce. Need to see a bounce. I would have liked to have kept my stop above this high, but again, my entry moved down pretty low because I added. So not good entries for me today so far. Not too good of entries for me today. Let's see if we can get a bounce back down. It's a pretty good bounce so far. We just got to see momentum start to step in back down. Got to see that momentum start to step in back down. Let's see if we can see it step in here. Okay, we have those equal lows. That's a good 5 minute, long wick up, movement back down. But again, we are at the bottom of this range, so that's something to keep in mind, right? We're at the bottom of this range. So it's not always the best idea to try to short from the bottom of the range. The only reason I did is because I'm expecting these lows to get taken out, right? Expecting these lows to get taken out. That's why. That's why. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Kind of all over the place. We're kind of chopping right now. Like, overall, I'm still expecting us to come down and try to take out these lows. You know, you could even, if you don't like the trade, you could get out, right? We're in profit again. You can move your stop down a little bit. Okay, that's a good start so far. If you want to, you know, take a first TP 1-to-1, 50 ticks would be down here. Remember, guys, we're at the bottom of this range, so we have to see some strong follow through, right? So if you want to get out, feel free to get out around break even, whatever you want to do. We're just not seeing that momentum step back in. I'm going to keep holding this trade for now. This 5 minute is trying to create this 5 minute fair value gap up here. So I could see us try to create that gap and then push back up and fill that before we drop. Okay, but the way we've reacted off this fair value gap so far and off this order block has been pretty good. It's been pretty good. There we go. So, you know, if you want to take a 1-to-1, I might even just take a 1-to-1, right, if we hit 50 ticks. You could always move your stop to break even if you want, but we just displaced pretty strongly. I'm gonna hold my first TP for now. Still at that 88, 89 ticks, but if we start to stall a little bit, you know, maybe I'll adjust it. But again, there's a few things you can do. You can move your stop to break even right now. Just make this a risk-free trade. You can move your stop down a little bit, right? So I'll move my stop just to that high, so like 4,550. So now it's 45 tick stop instead of a 50. Right, so like I said, we might be creating a fair value gap here. We might try to go fill that fair value gap on the 5 minute. So I'll probably adjust my plan and take first TP if we hit 50 ticks here. I'm going to move my first TP 17,42175 will be my first TP. And if you want to move that stop to break even, you can do so. Okay, but we've gotten strong displacement down so far, and that's why I like holding this trade right now. We are pretty close to my first TP. So, you know, we're going to see what happens. But you can make this a risk-free trade if you want. I'm going to hold where my stop's at right now. We're about to close on that 5 minute. So remember, like I said, we might want to come back up on that 5 minute. There we go. There we go. First TP just got hit. I'm going to move my stop to break even. Alright, there it is. So I'm going to keep my stop at break even for now and see if we're going to run down and try to take out these equal lows. And if we do that with strong displacement, we might keep heading down. Okay, so 50 ticks hit, stops at break even. You know, made my losses back from that last trade. So now we'll see what happens here. Now we'll see what happens. Let's see if we're going to go for those. There we go. There we go. You guys could take full TP there if you want. I might take full TP. Alright, I just got out completely there, guys. I just got out completely. I'm not even gonna let this one run here. You guys could definitely let this one run. This one might keep going. This one might keep dropping all the way down, right? This one has potential to come all the way down to these lows down here. Right? I just wanted to secure my profit after taking out liquidity, right? Just in case we get a reversal here. But again, you guys could keep holding this one. This one has potential to keep dropping for a long time. We just hit 135 ticks. So if you guys want to hold this, you can hold it. I just made my losses back. I'm in the green now. So, you know, I obviously could have held this for longer. It might have been a smart decision, but I just decided to take my profits. So there we go. Yeah, so those 4-hour lows, that's that next level I was saying that we could come down to. We might come all the way down to these 4-hour lows here. Of course, good stuff. Let's go, guys. That's a nice win. So, I mean, my scalp, I pretty much sold around like 80 ticks. I sold around 80 ticks, but so far we've hit about 140. Right, so if you guys are still holding this, you guys could really hold this for a long time if you want. But my reasoning for scalping that one is because of our constant ranging today, up and down. Right, and after taking a strong liquidity level like this, I don't want that to reverse on me. right? I don't want it to reverse on me and come back up. So that's why I just scalped that one and took my profit there. That was my reasoning. At this point, you could keep your stop at break even if you want, or you could move it into profit, maybe above this fair value gap here, right? Because we could come into this fair value gap and still drop, right? But again, this 15-minute is key because look at how we grabbed that liquidity now, and we're starting to head back up. That's why I scalped that. This is why I scalped that trade. Remember, today's a day to scalp. Today's a day to scalp. So you can see that reaction now. That's why I scalped, because now we're all the way back up. Right? So again, you could have your stop and profit at this point. You could keep it at break even, but we're looking pretty bullish now. Looking pretty bullish now. I wouldn't enter back in the shorts right now because of, look at, we swept our equal lows and we instantly rejected, we instantly reversed. Right? And now we're getting extremely volatile. So at this point, I'm going to stay out. We're getting closer to FOMC. I'm going to end the day green. It's only, I'm only in the green like a few $100, right? But a green day is a green day to me. I don't care. I'll take it. We waited. We were patient for a good setup. We found that setup. And look what happened. We reaped the benefits. Remember, patience. Patience pays. It pays. Okay, so I'm glad that, you know, for you guys that stuck around, let's just talk about this trade real quick. Why I entered. Remember, we created, whenever we create equal lows or equal highs, like these ones, we expect price to come back down and take those lows. That's now a strong liquidity level. We generated liquidity, we trade back up to the top of a range, we come back down. So right when we broke this order block right here, right when we broke structure, that's when I was like, okay, I'm going short, but I need to find a good level. So that's why I waited for this fair value gap to form with an order block. When we retrace, react, I get in the shorts, and we're able to catch that, right? So you have to have a target. You have to know why price is going to go to that target. You have to wait for a break of structure, wait for a fair value gap or an order block, and then capitalize on it. Okay, so that's my reasoning for that trade. Worked out pretty good for us there. So yeah, I'm going to call it there. I'm not going to trade any more leading up to FOMC. You can see the market starting to get a lot more volatile now. And it's going to be like that leading to FOMC, so I'm gonna call it. I'm not going to trade anymore. I would recommend you probably don't do the same. Obviously, it's up to you. You can do what you want. But I'll let you know when we're going to hop on for education. And then if we're going to do any more trading sessions, we'll see. I'll let you know if we're going to do our prop firm or if we're just going to call it a day. But we'll for sure do an educational session today, okay? So I'll keep you updated on the announcement tab. FOMC Pacific time is at 11 Pacific, 11 a.m., 2 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so I'll give you guys an announcement pretty soon about when we're gonna. No, it's in 2 hours. 2 hours. Or what time is it right now? Yeah, it's in 2 hours. Alright guys, I appreciate you all. Great trade today. Great comeback. Good patience. Take care of those accounts. And I'll hit you up about education here in the next 20-30 minutes. And we'll do some learning. Alright guys, God bless you. I'll see you soon. Good sesh. Peace.